Only in horseshoes is close good enough, but it's something to work from.
You are Locked On Huskers, your daily podcast on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey gang, it's a new week, and I'm DP, 937 The Ticket in Lincoln, Nebraska, home of the Fighting Huskers, University of Nebraska, Lincoln. I want to thank you for making Locked On Huskers, Locked On Go Big Red, your first watch, listen each and every single day. Greatly appreciate it. I want to thank the folks from Omaha Steaks. They love you, and it's the holiday season, and in the spirit of giving, they are adding this opportunity for what you can do for the people you care about, your family, your friends, your associates, business associates, somebody you want to do something special for. So go to omahasteaks.com, and there's a minimum order required, but once that's done, use the code Locked On. Locked On gets you $30 off your entire purchase. So go ahead and do that. We think there's lots of packages on there. Lots of bundles on there, burgers, steaks, whatever you want. Jump on there and have at it. Enjoy yourself. I want to ask you to do me a favor, if you would, please. And the numbers on the rise. Thumbs up. Subscribe. If you have not subscribed to this, please do. Click the button, get the alerts, please. And then share the content. Let folks know if they're interested in Husker athletics, Husker sports, and the stories that break. You can get it here on Locked On Huskers. The lead story over a busy weekend here in Lincoln is the performance of the Nebraska basketball team. Coach Fred Hoiberg has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to get a team that can compete with the best in the Big Ten Conference, the elite basketball conference in the country. It is the most difficult schedule and terrain to work through. And Coach Hoiberg said, in the offseason, I need to change some things. I need to change the approach. I need to change the focus and priority. He leaned heavily towards defense and rebounding. And he said, if I can do those things and get players who are willing to contribute and will buy into the idea that we need to defend first in order to be competitive in the Big Ten Conference, and then full detail that you have to rebound as a group, as a collective, and then move forward with that. That's how you're going to compete in the meat grinder that is the Big Ten Conference. And there are several flashes before you got into Big Ten season. Matchups against Florida State where you got to see, the possibilities, the potential. An earlier matchup against NC State where you can see what this team could be like if it performs at its highest level, and then what that would look like. Fred Hoiberg has kept this team together, united, which isn't easy to do when in the offseason all you hear is you're going to be the worst team in the Big Ten. You're not going to be good enough in the Big Ten. You're just going to get run out. You're going to get mauled. You're going to get beat up. So he went out and added some players to the roster. First on the list is Juwan Gary, an elite-level defender, athletic in his space, able to guard 3 levels on the floor, been competitive at Alabama in the SEC, a team that understood that it had to have 5 defenders on the floor at all times who worked together and at the same level of effort. You've got to defend connected together at the same level of energy, same level of effort. And a sign of a team and program that's elevating itself is one that's willing to defend first. Every great change in a Power 5 basketball team and program comes from getting them to buy in to expending all of their energy defensively and making that the focus. And in the Big Ten, that's an important thing. So that's buy-in 1. And then to buy-in 2, to get them to take that defensive effort and then finish the possession there. See, it's one thing to fight that shot clock from midline in the middle of the basketball court to the corner three, to the perimeter three on the wing, back to the midline on the floor, being loud in your communication, and then being thoughtful of your teammates and where they are on the floor and what they're trying to accomplish and who they're defending. Being aware, being out loud. A loud defense is a good defense. So the communication is important. Seeing what you know to be true, and then sharing that information for people who cannot get eyes everywhere. Fred Hoiberg has found a collective group of Huskers who are willing to defend first. And then to finish the possession is to not allow another shot. And that means to continually defend even after the shot goes up. That's not losing the person that you're guarding. That's not forgetting about the mission and gaining possession, because the whole mission to the shot is to regain possession, to end the possession. And the possession is not ended. And it gets lost on folks. The possession is not ended until you regain the ball. And the Huskers have been exceptional this season about rebounding. The rebounding numbers have improved to plus 12 over last year. That's a purposeful thing. That didn't happen by accident. So then you need to find out, get me another player. And Juwan Gary, who accepts his role defensively, challenges his role offensively, and saying that there are nights when he knows he needs to score between 15 and 20 points. And when those nights happen and they call for him, he's willing to step up and do that. But he needed somebody beside him. He needed somebody that could play with him at that level, match the energy, match the effort. And Fred Hoiberg went and he got Emmanuel Bandamel. One thing first before we talk about Emmanuel Bandamel. How this is possible that we do not have a Husker fight song that rhymes Emmanuel Bandamel. How has that not happened yet, people? Like, for all you creatives, we need a song. I don't care if it's hip-hop, country, I don't care. But we've got Emmanuel Bandamel. This is a layup waiting to happen. Just take the layup, people. Get me my Emmanuel Bandamel tribute song. And just put the word black shirt in it and then defend it. I'm real happy. This has to happen. Man, we got a Husker. He's so swell. His name's Emmanuel Bandamel. I don't care. Let's go. We'll throw it to break here. We'll come back. We'll talk about Mr. Bandamel and the rest of these fighting Huskers here on Locked On Huskers. Welcome back to Locked On Huskers. Yes, I'm in a silly mood. That's just that's kind of how that works. And again, we thank you for hanging out and allowing us to be a part, that Locked On Huskers be a part of your day, that first part of your day where you choose to get your Husker information. Greatly appreciated. I want to thank the folks from Omaha Steaks. And again, this is so easy. This is so easy, so good. World's best beef, right? Naturally aged, tender, juicy, flavorful. They have everything you need to deliver a holiday gift experience. So think of who you want, who you care about. And they're steak lovers. They're beef lovers. Get them. Go to omahasteaks.com. For this special time, it's the holiday season. If you use the code Locked On, they will give you $30 off. Of course, there's a minimum order there, but there's enough goodies to choose from that I'm pretty sure you can come up with something for the people you love, including yourself. And remember, subscribe. Go down there, get this alert. Let's do that. We were talking to Emmanuel Bandamel, and to have a combo guard, and that combo guard thing is somebody that through size, athleticism, IQ, effort can play multiple positions or actually transfer from one position in the backcourt to the other pretty fluidly and frequently. Emmanuel Bandamel is that player. And on a team that does not have a traditional point guard and an offense that doesn't have a traditional point guard, being fluid in this space means that you have different people who can help you in press break. You can have different people who hit different spots on the floor, people that can run the offense, quarterback the offense, get them into a play or into the system, whatever, and attack whatever place Coach Hoiberg has deemed is good for them. But to also be able to flow into the off guard and be the receiver, the recipient of dumping it down the box and then having it kick back out for an open three on the corner, or you're being able to take the kick out pass and then penetrate and get into the lane, cause some problems and chaos in this space, maybe going around a Derrick Walker pick at the free throw line, or back cutting from a defender that's a little overzealous and has gotten over a little too close to his space on the wing. And that's the way this offense is set up, is that this is an IQ offense and an energy offense. So if he's playing on the wing, to have a guard who can handle the ball well enough to get into that space, to get into the paint, or to be able to run and be fast enough to back cut behind a defender who's overzealous and overstepped and beat him to the basket so Derrick Walker can dump it down to him for a layup or a soft jumper. The ability to shoot from corner threes, because this offense puts guards in different places. Also to be able to post up, catch it, and then create some havoc there. But most importantly about Emmanuel Bandoumel is that he is a full court defender. To have a guy that's willing to pick up the opposing point guard or two guard, which usually is the best scorer on the opposing team, he can pick that player up. He can aggravate a point guard. And here's the thing about guards like Emmanuel Bandoumel who do that defensively. It's not what happens in the first 10 minutes. It's not even what happens in the second 10 minutes. Emmanuel Bandoumel harasses and puts point guards under duress so that late in the game, they are exhausted. They're physically exhausted. They're mentally exhausted because you've made them perform at their highest level for 35 minutes rather than 18 minutes. And that shows up later in games. It also shows up in key possessions where he's put on 75% pressure from free throw line into the front court. And that point guard at that moment really wants to get rid of the ball and take a deep breath. Well, they get the ball back, and then he's under duress again. No plays off, no seconds off. And Bandoumel has been exceptional, averaging over 35 minutes a game. And that sometimes, yes, he takes his time off. He rests his energy on offense because he's defending at a high level for 20-plus minutes a game. It's exceptional to watch. Plus, he's a really good help defender and a great communicator on the floor. What we didn't know is that Bandoumel and Gary were both pretty good three ball shooters. We didn't know that they had the distance and range that we're expecting, but that's important and vital in Fred Hoiberg's offense. Right? And then next to them is a guy who's, quite frankly, I have to say that we've talked about Sam Griesel. We've talked about Derrick Walker. We know what those two provide and what they do. But the underappreciated person in this thing, because of the style of play and that he is the filler, he could be the team's leading scorer. He could be the team's leading shooter. He could be the team's leading ball handler. His numbers on the boards are better. But CJ Wilcher is an elite shooter. He's an elite shooter. And often in play, the elite shooter demands and commands more shots. But CJ Wilcher has been a great teammate so far in this season. He's been an exceptional teammate in that he's willing to make the extra pass and trust Bandoumel and Gary and Griesel to knock down shots late in the shot clock. He's been a great teammate in that sometimes he's taken the tough shots late in the shot clock where you're a little bit farther away than you want to be, maybe a little out of the range in which you want to be. but he's willing to take that shot for the Huskers. And every Big Ten team needs that player. The one that's resilient, he got a short memory. If he's taking a tough shot on the last trip down, he's going to take the next shot as though not only does he want it to go in, he expects it to go in. He flashed that the other night, and we got to see it in great numbers. But then his effort defensively against Purdue can't go unspoken on. Great energy. He's a leader on this team. And I wanted to spend some time talking about the other guys because on a Saturday afternoon, they welcomed in the number 4 team in the country. And quite frankly, most people that know basketball have said that this Purdue team might be the best team in the country. They may be number 1. They should be number 1. With the number 1 player in the country, Zach Edey is elite. If you're going to talk about great players in college basketball, you start the conversation with Zach Edey. His size, his length, his poise, his presence. He allows Purdue – listen, he's the reason why Purdue is number 4, but he's not the only reason. And this is why it was so impressive that what Bandamel and Gary and C.J. Wilcher did on Saturday against number 4 Purdue at home at Pinnacle Bank Arena, where they had the game, they had opportunities to win the game, even in overtime. They checked a lot of boxes for things that work well in Big Ten play. They battled, they fought, missed front end of one and ones. Fixable. But let's say this about Derrick Walker and Sam Griesel. Derrick Walker outplayed the number 1 player in the country. How about that? Outscored him, battled him on the boards, fought through foul trouble. Sam Griesel led the offense in play, and quite frankly, we found out some things. We found out some good things that he can handle Big Ten play at its elite level and not be out of place. He was not out of his league on Saturday. This Husker team was not out of its league on Saturday. But there was an X factor. There's an X factor on Saturday. We'll talk about the X factor or 2 when we come back. Welcome back. Thank you once again for hanging out with us. Locked On Huskers, Locked On Go Big Red. This basketball edition I wanted to talk about. And again, it was a 65-62 Purdue win in overtime. Derrick Walker, Sam Griesel were exceptional. But there were 2 factors that are intangible. They have greater meaning and greater weight, greater purpose. First of them was the crowd. The Sea of Red was large and in charge Saturday. It felt great to be in Pinnacle Bank Arena, to hear the crowd roar and work at the level that it did. It added to the game. It added to the level of play. And it was good to see. Probably the best crowd I've seen in that building since they knocked off Iowa 3 years ago before the pandemic. That was as good a crowd I've seen in PBA in a long time. But there's a conductor. All power and energy sources need a conductor. They need something that connects the game to them and raises the level of energy. And that conductor was Keisei Tamanaga. Played 26 minutes off the bench, 6 of 12 from the floor, 4 of 8 from 3. Didn't start off well, missed his first couple of threes. You could hear folks start to go, okay, here we go. We don't really know what we're getting today. And then it's the Tiger fist pump, but now we're going to call it the Tamanaga fist pump. After the first 3 goes down, the room changes. The energy changes. The pace of the game changed. The energy of the fan base changed. The speed in which his teammates began to move changed. Look, the top 6 players all played 26 minutes or above. They rotated within that space. Keisei Tamanaga, 6 buckets. And let's not lose in this that he is being effective defensively in this space. He also gave you 3 rebounds in this space and a key assist on a run that helped turn this game back around late in the second half. He led the Huskers with 19 points in 26 minutes. And I want to say this. It's difficult to have a talent like Casey Tamanaga on your roster and not have it in the starting lineup. It requires some of the best management that's required. But the players around him, those players that we mentioned, Vandermel playing 39 minutes, his ability to swing over to the point guard allows more minutes for Casey Tamanaga. It allows more minutes for C.J. Wilter to rest and go to the bench and get time. It allows Juwan Gary to not have to carry 38 minutes. Derrick Walker played 33 minutes. You don't have to beat him up in the course of this thing. And this is including overtime. But Tamanaga is the best scorer and the best creator off the dribble on this team. And Fred Hoiberg will have the challenge of trying to figure out how to get more from his best shooter, because he is one of the best shooters in the Big Ten Conference. And it's good to have Casey Tamanaga wearing the scarlet and cream. Great effort. They fall 3 points short at home. A brutal whistle late in the game changed this thing. Don't put that on the game, but officials that assume and blow the whistle rather than actually seeing it, that's problematic to the game and shouldn't be a part of it. They get to retool and reload. Look, the crowd is now behind them, but they will travel to Kansas State on Saturday, and then they'll come back home for battle in the vault on the 20th, Tuesday the 20th, where they will play Queens out of North Carolina. I had to look that up. So tomorrow we'll talk about signees in the football program in the next podcast. Signees in the football program. What's next? We'll talk about the Matt Rule speech at halftime of the Huskers basketball game. We'll talk about that. Transfer portal, we got more information as far as that's concerned as well. I want to thank the folks from Omaha Steaks once again. Juicy burgers, desserts, steaks, whatever you want. Go to omahasteaks.com. And with the minimum order, you'll get $30 off if you use the code Locked On. We appreciate you hanging out with us for this podcast and this episode. We'll finish with the words that we love so much. Go Big Red.